What is happening there, Reject Nation? Greg and John here. We are going to watch from a great YouTube channel called Think Story. Channel link in the description box and pinned comment for this guy. 56 key differences between Mortal Kombat 95 and Mortal Kombat 2021. I've been waiting for a video like this to check out and react to. Mortal Kombat 95, I loved the hell out of that movie, and I would like to see a breakdown pointing it out. Seriously, subscribe to Think Story if you haven't done so already. His channel's well worth it, deserves way more subscribers. Check out more of his videos when you get the chance. Our Mortal Kombat reaction watch along where you sync up with the time code is over at our Patreon page right now. The reaction highlights. There was a little problem with the footage, but it's all fixed now, so it's being edited. Hopefully it will be up this week. Let's get into this.
Come on back to the year 1995, where the internet came in cereal boxes and I didn't have to pay rent to live in my parents' basement. It's also the year Mortal Kombat was released, spending 3 weeks at the top of the box office and making over 122 million. Fast forward 26 years later, and Warner Brothers hopes to reboot this struggling franchise after the disaster that was Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Alive. Too bad you
Will die.
So in this video, I thought it would be fun to compare the original 1995 Mortal Kombat to the 2021 version.
Yes.
What's different, what's the same, and why didn't Goro get punched in the dick?
That's got to hurt. I don't care where you're from.
So make sure to like and subscribe, because here we go. Right off the bat, we have our first difference, the Warner Brothers logo. You won't see this on the 95 version, as it was distributed by New Line, whereas New Line only acted as the production company for the 2021 release. Remember that bop and techno mix from the original? Well, it doesn't quite fit the tone of 2021's beginning, and only really makes
It would have been really fun if it did.
Really funny to see someone recut that.
And that's because the intro here is of tranquil 1617 Japan. The original doesn't have any flashbacks at all. It does, however, have nightmares, which both versions incorporate. And while both these versions help set up the Mortal Kombat tournament, they go about it in two wildly different ways. In 95, our protagonist is Kang, who joins the tournament to avenge the death of his brother Chan at the hands of Shang. Fun fact, the actor who plays Chan was also the stunt coordinator on The Bachelor.
What?
cat. Oh, I thought you said Kylie.
Fatality.
The 2020
I do want to get this out of the way. I think the performances and the character depiction of Liu Kang and Shang Tsung, I much more prefer the 95 version over the 2021 version. I think overall, even just looking at the imagery, I still prefer the 95 version.
It's more lovable.
It's got more personality, more color, feels more lived in actually, and the world feels bigger. Whereas in the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie, it kind of feels like a fan fiction play.
Yeah,
because they keep talking about like big world events. It kind of feels like a bigger budget web series in a way. It really stood out to me during the scene when Shang Tsung has like the Great Natara, Prince Goro. They're saying all these like big labels and titles, but I'm like, but where's the civilians and world surrounding all this?
I'm
just seeing these like characters with titles. You can give me exposition, but like even here in the 95 clips, you're seeing like background extras and all that. You know,
It feels like a populated world rather than cutting around to just like a couple remote locations.
Yeah, and then with characters just talking exposition. Yeah, I think there's more personality in the 95 one for sure.
The 2021 version sets up our new protagonist Cole Young's bloodline and how he's connected to the great warrior Hanzo Hasashi, who will become one of Mortal Kombat's most famous fighters, Scorpion. A huge difference between these versions are how they treat Scorpion and Sub-Zero. In the original, these fighters are completely one-dimensional and basically are just there to look cool and say their catchphrases.
Get over here!
In fact, I don't think Sub-Zero says anything at all, whereas the 2021 version has them completely fleshed out with backstories that
so
mesh
much
into the greater plot. You may notice Hanzo here carrying these buckets of water, which are the same type of buckets Liu Kang uses to defeat Sub-Zero in the original. We also get our first close-up of Scorpion's iconic spear tip. In the original, it has more of an organic quality, while here it's made of steel and more faithful to the game. We also see that it's...
I think a lot of people, including myself, because of the movie, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I didn't realize the grenade comes out of Scorpion's hand. Like, so for the longest time, I believed that it came out of his hand because of the 95 movie.
Dude, it's like the Spider-Man wrist web shooters of Mortal Kombat.
Yes, it
It's
is.
Like, a lot of people thought that was just natural to Spider-Man until they were like, nope, that's just a Sam Raimi thing.
I mean, yeah, one thing for sure, though, that this Mortal Kombat 2021 movie does have over the 95 one is those are their actual characters.
Sub-Zero and Scorpion
and
are
they're
actually
the best
like
part.
the best part.
Yeah.
We also see that it's Johnny Cage fighting Scorpion here, and Johnny's absence from the 2021 version is one of the biggest differences between the two films. However, we do find out Cole is on his way to Hollywood in search of Johnny at the end. In the original, we see Johnny on set with a director who looks suspiciously like
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Hey, he might even be on the set of Citizen Cage, which we see a poster of near the end, a play on words of Citizen Kane, the 1941 classic.
I would love if that's what he's actually filming and it's a callback to the 95 movie. That would be really clever if they did that in the sequel. Did something where they go to the new Johnny Cage and it looks like it's out of the 95 Mortal Kombat movie where he's on set.
Yeah, it's like the same movie.
You're like,
pretty
wait
much.
a minute, this looks like the 95 movie.
Yeah. You get actual Steven Spielberg to cameo like he was supposed to.
Notice how we don't see his face here, likely because they haven't cast him yet. Raiden's role in the
Ryan
2021
Reynolds.
version is way more hands-off than it is in the original.
Don't make it Ryan
It's also
Reynolds.
taken a lot more seriously.
The fate of billions will depend upon you. Sorry.
Raiden is the protector of Earthrealm, and he feels a lot more human in the original as opposed to the constantly glowing eyes of the 2021 version. His powers are also vastly expanded, but that has likely more to do with the advancement in visual effects more than anything else. We see this with other characters as well, like Liu Kang's Fireball and Dragon Apparition or Sub-Zero's Ice Wall. The closest we get to Liu Kang having supernatural powers in the original is the final blast he gives to Shang Tsung. Characters like Sonya never even get powers in the original, unless you count her death by vagina move.
I guess that's what you call that.
You know, it's weird. As a man who's really proud of the Asian representation on screen, especially as of late in Hollywood, I do prefer Christopher Lambert's version of Raiden because his version did feel more human, not just because of the glowing eyes thing. He feels like an actual mentor who's like, humor is meant as a way to still guide or provoke in a certain direction to get them on the track he wants them to be on, to be the saviors of Earthrealm. Whereas like Raiden in this one, he looks cooler. Like Raiden's aesthetic is so much cooler, but he's just kind of like this cynical, angry guy. He's just like, Kung Lao and Liu Kang, you do all the training.
The actor has a presence, but yeah, as a character, he's got way less personality.
Yeah, he does get Hanzo's baby and help carry on the bloodline. So
I still liked him, but yeah, I mean, he's nowhere near as like fun to watch as Christopher Lambert.
The 2021 version gets a lot of the exposition out of the way by showing this title card, explaining how Shang Tsung is one Mortal Kombat victory away from being able to take over Earthrealm. In the original, this is all done through dialogue from Raiden. The main difference here, however, is this talk about bloodlines and prophecy, which are entirely new. The 95 version dabbles a bit with Liu Kang and destiny, but there's no mention of a prophecy. And Outworld during the daytime, something you don't see in the original. Although both versions do visit this realm, the new version shows what appears to be Shang Tsung's throne. In the original, the fighters battle him in his castle, which isn't depicted in the 2021 version. We do, however, get these cloaked citizens of Outworld, just like the original, and a giant stone statue of Prince Goro. Some of you may forget, but Jax is actually in the original for a total of 10 seconds.
he was recast in Annihilation.
Sonya, I trust one person on this planet, Jax. You're talking to her.
Here his character is way more fleshed out, having become a champion himself after tracking down a target with his partner Sonya Blade in Brazil and obtaining his dragon mark.
That's something I gotta give credit for. Jax is much better in this movie.
He's a character for real.
I mean, you got the depiction of him, the 10-second win in Mortal Kombat 1. He's in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And he's like fun. Here, he was someone I actually did care for in this film.
A nice physical performance.
Do you see what I mean when they're like cutting around to the differences of Outworld here? They do all this like big world talk of like everything that's at stake and legacy and lore, but then it just feels like fan fiction play because you're not getting the sense of the world.
Yeah, Outworld just feels like a desolate, kind of crappy place to be in the new one.
Like, where do these people live?
No wonder you want to take over Earthrealm. You're sick of being in Outworld.
Do y'all just sleep on the ground here?
What do you do? Just mine rocks and fight all day?
Unlike the original, these dragon marks play a large role in the new version. They designate who will become a champion champion and who can unlock something known as Arcana. This concept was never discussed or shown in the original, but it's what locks one's powers and is different for each individual. Shang Tsung tasked Sub-Zero with tracking down and killing Earth's champions, the ones with this mark. Unlike the original, Shang Tsung doesn't invite them to participate in a battle on his secluded island. He decides to break the rules established by the Elder Gods. Not mentioned in the 2021 version is his allegiance to Shao Kahn, the Emperor. We do see a statue of him. At the end of the 95 version, he makes a brief appearance, setting him up as the main villain for Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
God, that has been a meme going around. Oh yeah.
I've seen everything.
While the original takes us to exotic locations like Southeast Asia, the new version introduces us to the beauty of Gary, Indiana. Sonya here acts as Mrs. Exposition, teaching us more about the tournament and how the dragon marks work.
In all fairness, they all act as Mrs. Exposition.
Yep. Except for Kano.
And Cole Young is Mr. Listening to Exposition.
He's us.
We even get a glimpse of what could be the character Nighthawk, not featured in either versions. However, there is one line of dialogue in the original that does mention him.
I'm going to need to see Nighthawk.
Shang Tsung tasks Mileena with sending
Night Wolf.
Yeah, I think that line was, "You're gonna need a seeing eye dog," that Shang Tsung just said.
Yeah. Still subscribe to things.
Still subscribe. Hey man, we all make a blunder.
mistakes.
Sometimes
You've made
it's
a
hard
lot
to
of
decide
great
for the
points, and
dialogue.
I know people have the habit of harping on the little errors, but you know we'll point it out for you. But I'm sure there's a billion comments who have already done it for you.
Shang Tsung tasks Mileena with sending out Sizoth, also known as Reptile.
Reptile.
He looks a lot better here than he does in the original. Mileena isn't in the original. She's a genetic experiment created by Shang Tsung and
Tried
an
to keep a
adopted
straight
daughter
face.
of the Emperor Shao Kahn. That makes her stepsisters with Princess Kitana, who we do see in the original. We might not see her in the 2020 version, but we definitely do see Kitana's iconic steel fans in the background of Raiden's
I
temple.
didn't
Who
notice
finds out
that.
Sonya has Kano chained up. In
Thank
the original,
you.
she chases him to Shang Tsung's island. Jax and Sonya work together as part of the Special Forces, an organization created by the US government to bring down the Black Dragon and Red Dragon clans.
Mileena dies in the 2021 version. No one really dies, do they?
She'll come back with a different colored costume next time.
Hopefully. Yeah, I think you gotta have, especially if you do a sequel and Katana's in there, you gotta have Kitana and Mileena have a face-off, man.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
Maybe that will be the Scorpion Sub-Zero flashback that starts the whole movie off.
Mortal Kombat's all woke now. Yeah, just all women. Jeez.
Kano is the leader of the Black Dragons, which deal in illegal arms trades, among other things. When we first meet him in the original, he already has his iconic red eye, the one with silver plating, while in this version, he learns this ability as part of his Arcana. Although he does have a red eye in the original, we never see him use it there. Kano ends up joining forces with Cole and Sonya for a short time, and even uses his trademark heart rip-out fatality, which originated from the video game, something we don't see in the original. In fact, the word fatality, which has become synonymous with the game, only is spoken once in both movies. Once when Shang Tsung sucks the soul out of a guy who loses to Liu Kang, and once when Kung Lao brutally severs Natara in half, which I can't even show, or else my video will get demonetized. Upon arriving at Raiden's temple,
Such
we're
a
introduced
cool
to Kung
fatality,
Lao.
man.
In the original, this name is only mentioned once, Kung Lao being an ancient ancestor of Liu Kang's. This Kung Lao is named after the same ancestor, and it's hinted at that Liu Kang and Kung Lao could be cousins. A fun addition to the 2021 version is when Liu Kang challenges the champions to test their might, a minigame found in the original video game, but never mentioned in the original film. Speaking of Liu Kang,
that's
we learn
clever.
more about
That's
his
cool.
background in the 2021
I love it.
version, like how he was an orphan picked up by Raiden. This isn't really delved too deeply in the original, and more focus is placed on his relationship with his brother Chan, something not mentioned in the new version. Shang Tsung tasks some more memorable MK characters with defeating the champions. These
See, I think that was something the 95 version definitely got down better, was even though it's still cheesy and stuff, that whole thing with Liu Kang's brother, and even with Sonya Blade and Kano, there's a more personal vibe for why they're in the tournament.
Even if it's cheesy, it's a different level of investment put into it. And it's like a very 90s thing, I feel like, to have some kind of element where it's like, oh yeah, my brother, and then he died, and I'm partly fighting for his honor. No matter how cheesy that gets, there's like something that plucks your heartstrings about it.
characters aren't seen in the original and include Natara, Cabal, and General Raiko. Most notable among them is Cabal, who has history with Kano, also being a member of the Black Dragon clan. It was Kano who healed Cabal and gave him his respiratory mask, which he calls an Iron Lung in the new version. Kano ends up double-crossing the champions by destroying Raiden's staff, which seems to be protecting the temple. This staff is never seen in the original. Meanwhile, while Cole goes back home, he's attacked by Goro.
The Goros.
The original Goro was a $1 million animatronic suit
Wow.
with
Really?
over a dozen puppeteers to operate. There are full scenes with him having dialogue as well. In the new version, he's basically in one scene to fight Cole with the purpose of Cole discovering his arcana. He's a bit more green in tone and completely CGI. Cole ends up killing Goro with his newfound power, while in the original, he's killed by Johnny Cage after falling off a cliff. But I want to hear which Goro version you guys like more in the comments below.
I prefer the 95 Goro version.
I mean, there's something about having it actually be there that's just so much more charming, I guess. Like, I like the new one. Like, I thought it looked good, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, which one do you want to cuddle?
There's something that's effective about the 95 version with Goro where he has a real presence about him. Here they go, Prince Goro, da-da-da-da-da, and then he shows up and he just fights Cole Young. In the 95 one, like when he's talking with Kano, like it seems scary to be around this guy. Goro defeats Johnny Cage's friend, and I cared more about that death than I did about Kung Lao dying, to be honest. They have that montage where Goro's like knocking everyone to the ground. You're building him up. The design's even scarier to me.
Yeah, well, I think he works better in the tournament environment than just like, be my assassin, go to Earth.
Kung Lao says the iconic flawless victory line here, while in the original that line is only spoken by Shang Tsung. Sonya ends up killing Kano, stabbing him through the eye with a garden gnome, and I wonder if he'll be resurrected in future sequels with that new Iron Eye plate. Liu Kang's fight with Cabal has him using his trademark bicycle kick move, while this same move is performed by him against Reptile in the original. Cole is tasked with taking on Sub-Zero, but is helped by his ancestor Scorpion, who has emerged from the depths of hell. In the original, Scorpion transports Johnny Cage to a hell-type location where they fight. He even uses his Skullfire breath move, which we see in action in both versions. With Sub-Zero defeated, Scorpion says he is now...
What I did like about seeing the fire move too in the Mortal Kombat in the 2021 movie is that you do see him actually set someone's epidermis on fire.
Shang Tsung is set up to be a recurring villain, swearing he'll bring armies next time they see each other. In the original,
There'll be
Shang Tsung
background
dies at
extras
the end
next
of the franchise, opting to focus on Shao Kahn in the sequel. Warner Brothers is currently waiting to see whether or not this reboot is a success, and the actor who played Sub-Zero has already signed on for 4 more Mortal Kombat movies should the studio decide to continue
play the brother
franchise.
Yeah, man.
So it looks like if the movie does well, Sub-Zero won't be the only thing that survives. Thanks for watching, everyone. Check out my Mortal Kombat ending explained video for an even deeper analysis of the story, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. For more bad takes, you can always follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.
Yeah, I mean, the short summary version would be there are definitely parts of the 2021 movie that I prefer. Overall, I still prefer the 95 movie. I definitely enjoy that one more.
It's easily the more cuddly and the one you would throw on just as comfort food.
I think this is a good first step still, and I'm totally down for a sequel. And I think if now that Warner Brothers seems to have faith in this franchise after the success that it's garnered, I think they will be able to take its time more, listen to some of the criticisms to really improve the film, and I feel like they could do a sequel that is much better. I have faith that the sequel can actually do a much better job than the 2021 version.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always championing for the filmmakers, man. Anyway, guys, what did you think about this? Which Mortal Kombat do you prefer? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe, click that notification bell, subscribe to Think Story. Last but not least, let's shout out some patrons. Chris Bustin,
Mr. Crispy,
Simon Schnell,
Stone PC,
Vinalese,
Jesse Dobby Reactions,
Danny Pancakes,
Alex Beaver, Beaver,
Morgan,
Kathleen Marr,
Azar Sabir Hussein,
Pseudonymous Entity,
Olivia Delguy,
T-Magic Infinity,
John Byers,
Kevin Casimiro,
differently signed,
Nash Sanadiki,
Kelly Ailes,
Chase,
Jacob Gonzalez,
Levitt Odell,
Hardverse,
Josh Barnes,
Sean Davis,
Oscar.
Thank you guys so much for pledging. You guys rock.
You're the best.
Hopefully, you can help us restore the Snyderverse.
Sign that petition.
Seriously, your support means a lot. Thank you for being part of our Patreon. We'll see you guys soon.